Good morning, sober family. I wanted to share with you what I do on a daily basis for a 10th step, some basic questions. And it might seem like there's a lot of them, but I've basically taken everything from the big book and the 12 and 12 and added a few little things in between that help me a lot. And I start out, pretty much going through the day, asking myself the basic questions for a spot check. But when I get home, it's usually a good time for me to check in at some point, after I get cleaned up and, might drink some water and relax. And I go through something like this. So I ask my higher power for some help when I'm looking at some things that I might not particularly want to look at. Relieve me of the bondage of self in whatever form it may present itself. Have I gone to sleep in spirit? Have I said or done anything I ought to clean up? Do I have a resentment? And we all know that resentments are the number one offender, and we really are trying to make sure that that kind of thing gets addressed as soon as possible. Have I been selfish and self-centered? Have I been dishonest or in denial? Now, denial doesn't come up, as far as I can tell, in either the big book or the 12 and 12, but it shows up for me quite a bit in the way that if I am dishonest, I'm usually in denial, and I'm usually in denial of self-pity for some reason. Am I now in fear of losing or not getting something? These are the forms of fear that I tend to find in myself. They're usually in these two categories. I'm afraid of losing something that I have or not getting something that I want. There might be other fears, long-standing old fears that don't fit into this category, but it's a good idea to take a look at these false evidences appearing real in my life. Am I now hurt or sad or lonely? Any self-pity? Am I suffering because I can't seem to let go of something? Or sometimes someone? Have I thought about other people today? Have I given positive action to someone else today? Have I made conscious contact with life throughout the day? You could also substitute life for God, higher power, spirit of the universe, great spirit, whatever you call your higher power. I look at my higher power as all life, even things that I don't consider to be alive like a living being. I understand that there is life holding everything together, and that is what I talk to and try to stay in conscious contact with throughout the day. So that's been my 10th step questions. I try to answer as closely, as routinely as possible. You could also go through a list of the 7 deadly sins out of the 12 and 12, but I wanted to keep this very simple. Pride, anger, lust, sloth, gluttony, greed, envy. Those show up, and they tend to get engaged by fear in my life, and I notice them. I try to notice those when I'm going through my day, just as much as I might notice self-centeredness, dishonesty, or fear throughout the day. So that's it for the 10th step. Thanks for joining me for this 10th step inventory questions video, and I hope you have a great day.